Hi folks, my name's Sydney and I'm going to be talking about some online environmental resources that you should know about. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a series where in each video I highlight one resource, I'll talk a little bit about it, and then I'll actually show you a demo of the site, that way you know how to use it on your own. In Pennsylvania, in order to keep our waterways healthy, projects that will impact lakes, streams, rivers, or wetlands will require some type of permit coverage under Title 25, Chapter 105 of the Pennsylvania Code. Now, the specific type of permit is going to depend on the kind of work that will be occurring. However, in pretty much every case, there are a few resources that I always consult in order to help determine permit eligibility. When someone's proposing a project within a stream, one of the first things I do is check the StreamStats. Now, StreamStats is super helpful because it is able to tell us the drainage area to a certain section of the stream. If it's found that the drainage area is 100 acres or less, permit requirements are technically waived. That means that you basically don't have to apply and get a formal permit. Now, if it's found that this project will have significant effects on safety or the protection of life, health, property, or the environment, the waiver is not going to be applicable and you're going to be required to get a permit. The same goes for wetland impacts. If you're impacting wetlands, you're going to have to get a permit. However, typically, if the drainage area to a stream is under 100 acres, then you're not going to be required to get a permit. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this demo.
Alright folks, welcome to StreamStats. So you can get here by going to streamstats.usgs.gov/ss/, or you can probably just type in StreamStats into Google or whatever search engine you use. It'll probably be one of the first things that comes up, so whatever's easiest for you. Now the next step is going to be to type in an address. Now if your site doesn't have a specific address, you can type in one that's nearby and then just kind of maneuver from there, or you also have the option of just zooming in from this map. I'm going to use our office address just because that's a little bit easier. We have Woodcock Creek that runs nearby. So go ahead and type in your address, press enter, and you will see this little box pop up. Go ahead and click that, and it will take you right where you need to be. Now, once you're here, something I always like to do is go over to that little layers tab, and I like to click base maps and change that to the imagery layer. You don't have to, but I find it makes it a little bit easier to help visualize what your project is with relation to StreamStats. Now that I've set up the way I like it, we're going to go ahead and close out of those layers tabs, just get rid of some junk on the screen, and then we're going to take a look at that white box in the middle. As you can see, it displays that address that you had typed in, and it also gives some information like the latitude and longitude, which is good to know, but I'm going to go ahead and clear that for right now. Now, you might be noticing that there aren't any streams that are actually being displayed right now, and that's because you have to go over to this blue Pennsylvania button, click that, and there you go, there's all your streams. Now from here, go ahead and click that delineate button, and you will see that your cursor is now changed to a little crosshair image. Now from here, this can be a little bit finicky, so go ahead and click a point on the stream where your project's going to be. And once we do that, it's going to need a second to think to figure out whether you clicked a valid point or not. It is saying that I clicked a point and it's starting to delineate the basin, but sometimes this doesn't always work, so just go ahead and give it a minute. And of course, it says a watershed was not returned from the delineation request. So we're just going to go and try that again. Just go back over to that blue delineate button, click it again, and then try clicking another point. If you have to zoom in a little bit, sometimes that helps. So just go ahead and try and click another point and see what happens this time. Alright, so that point was successful. When this happens, you'll see a yellow image pop up. And from here, we can go over to this sidebar. You're going to scroll down a bit, and you're going to go ahead and click continue. Once again, this takes a little bit. Now you should see a tab pop up that says Basing Characteristics. From here, you're going to go ahead and click that little arrow right next to it, and it will display a bunch of different options that we can select. Now, for right now, we are just going to be focusing on the drainage area, so you're going to go ahead and click that option. However, if you are interested in some of these other options it displays, go ahead and click those too, and it'll add it to the report. But for right now, we're just going to focus on drainage area. Now, once you have all of the options that you want selected, go ahead and scroll to the bottom and there will be another blue continue button. Now, once again, this takes a little bit of time for it to create that report, so go ahead and sit tight. Now, once that report is created, you will see something pop up that says Basing Characteristics Report. From here, you're going to click Continue, and it'll bring up the report that it just generated. Now, you have the option to customize this a little bit. You can change the title to, something more specific if you're creating this for someone or if you just want to be organized yourself. I'm going to go ahead and label this as CCCD for Crawford County Conservation District, Stream Bank Stabilization, StreamStats Report. Now, just below that, you'll see an option to add some additional comments, so you can just put in a little bit of information about that project if you want. It's not required, but I'm going to go ahead and type in that this project is for stream bank stabilization along Woodcock Creek using blah blah blah. Really, whatever information you want to put in here is going to be totally fine. Now, StreamStats will take that title that you plugged in and it will add it right there into the top of the report. And the same is true for the comments you put in. That will go ahead and be placed underneath the map that it provides. So whatever you type in will also be included within that little report there. Now, let's take a look at some of the information that's provided at the top of the report. We have the region ID, workspace ID, clicked point, which is the latitude and longitude, and the time that you created this StreamStats report. Just a little bit of extra information. Now, taking a look at the map that it provides, you'll see that same yellow image that we saw earlier. If you'd like, you have the option to go in and change that background layer. If you like the imagery, you can change it to that. If you like world topographic, that's fine too. I'm going to go ahead and leave it with the National Geographic layer just because the scale it's at makes it a little bit easier for me to understand. So now scrolling down, let's get into the whole reason why we're here. Now, you will see that this actually displays the drainage area. Now, for this specific point, it is 45.7 square miles. However, if you recall earlier when we were talking about the waiver and the less than 100 acre drainage area, we were talking about that in terms of acres, not square miles. So, in order to convert from square miles to acres, you're going to multiply by 640. Now, as you can see, that gives us 29,248 acres. Now, obviously, that is quite a bit bigger than 100, so in this case, a permit would be required. Even in the case that this did reflect a drainage area that was under 100 acres, I'm still going to recommend calling your local conservation district just to confirm that there aren't any other qualifications that might trigger a permit requirement. However, if you do this, you at least have an idea of what direction that this might go in. So that is the end of our demo, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you need further clarification, or if you just figure, you know what, I don't want to do this, I feel better if someone else did it for me, give me a call at the Conservation District and I will be more than happy to help you. I'm going to go ahead and put up a little bit of information just to recap what we talked about, but hopefully you guys learned something and I hope you all have a wonderful day.